Hello, everyone, and welcome into another edition of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Tony Sapita, and today we are joined by a very special guest again. He's back, Chicago Bulls expert analyst Nick Barr. How you doing today, Nick?
Good to be back, Tony. Thank you for having me.
So we're going to talk about the Chicago Bulls. They have been the story of the summer in the NBA, not just in Chicago. I think also around the league. Maybe I'm a little biased, but they have definitely had some interesting stories come out. They've had a couple run-ins with the old tampering police. And they basically swapped out their entire bench for arguably all-star caliber players, a couple of them at least. And we as Bulls fans, we think it's awesome. Nick, I think you think it's awesome as well.
All in.
Exactly so. However, there's a few high-level NBA people that think that the Bulls, the current Bulls now after all the trades, after everything, are the worst thing since unsliced bread. So before we get into that, we'd like to say a few words and thank our sponsor, Stupid Car Tray. Basically, the tray works. It just straight up, you just want a product that works, and this tray works. I never have to move off the couch anymore. I'll show you my belly next time. If anyone says anything in the comments, I'll do it, I promise. But I don't have to get off the couch anymore to get chips. No crumbs on my couch. If you want to enjoy Bulls game at home or on the road, because it works in the car, head on over to www.stupidcartray.com and use code J16, JAY16. At checkout to get 16% off. All righty, Nick, let's talk some Bulls. So
Yes, sir.
To start off, the NBA executives and high-level scouts, they think we suck straight up. They think that. So basically, according to an article by Bleacher Nation Bulls, shout out them. We shouted them out on the last podcast. They do some great work. They said, quote, reporter Tim Bontemps, I think I nailed that, Bontemps, surveyed 10 high-ranking NBA execs and scouts. They anonymously voted on a number of categories, including the best player, the best move in free agency, and the worst move in free agency. If you recall, this is also the poll that LeBron James had 0 votes for best player in the NBA, rightfully so. That's a whole different podcast. So basically, what I think there was 1 vote for Bulls that saying like they had the best overall free agency. However, they tied with the Pelicans for first place, whatever you want to call it, for the worst offseason move. Who were they referring to? Demar Derozan. They called that the worst offseason move. And keep in mind, the Lakers got Russell Westbrook. Nick, right. I know you got some points on Demar Derozan, even if it's just to disprove the haters, whatever it is. Let me have the offseason in general, whatever it is, let me have it.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, like you said, I think most of the bad rating is being attributed to the DeMar DeRozan part. I think that's all what they're targeting, which I understand. I can say that, but again, I think the points that are being made about how much less efficient he makes the teams while he's on the floor, blah blah blah. I think it gets tough when we get this far in the weeds. I mean, think about it. We're talking about giving ratings to players that haven't played with their respective new teams yet, right? And I know that's what we're doing. That's what we're here for, man. We're here to make blind predictions, right? Because we love our Bulls, and that's fine. And other fan bases have the right to do that too. But unbiasedly, I just want to say I think that yes, DeRozan isn't great from 3-point. Yes, we don't have a huge, presence on the 3-point line right now, but have you seen Lonzo's jumper lately? It looks phenomenal. He's only getting better from 3. I mean, Caruso adds a good little spark. He's got a very good 3-point percentage. Vooch obviously can shoot from 3, and I think Zach LaVine I think we can all agree, is only getting better in every aspect of his game. So this stuff just doesn't worry me that much, I guess. I know how well DeRozan spreads the floor. And that, guess what? That plays well for shooters. So yes, we need guys to step up and shoot the 3, but of course we need guys to step up if we're all in on the Bulls, but we have the supporting cast now finally. And I'm just happy to see a 6'6" small forward that can actually, be a playmaker on the Bulls. I think that alone is just such an awesome thing to see. So I think it's overreaction. I really do.
I completely agree with you. I mean, he's an all-star. Just like it is what it is. You can say it's not the best move. That's fine. If you want to say that other teams got better than the Bulls in comparison, however you want to word
like
that.
a F rating. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, to just straight up say I puked on myself when I saw Demar Derozan. The Bulls got Demar Derozan. That's an incorrect take by,
No,
unfortunately, the people that are running these teams and are in the
they're.
front offices, and they're picking these players and telling people who to draft.
I think it's clear that the Bulls are trying to win now, and if that is the case, then I don't see. I just don't think that's being factored in. Maybe they're not thinking of it from their perspective, but I just don't see how it's a god awful move if we are trying to win now. We do need a veteran presence, and yeah, we're not going to get LeBron, so I'm pretty happy with DeMar DeRozan.
Exactly. And then the last thing I'll say about it too is general manager Mark Eversley, when he started with the Bulls, he made a couple things clear. He basically gave a checklist. He said it's kind of like when Lovie Smith came to the Bears, for all us Bears fans out there. He said, I'm here to do one thing and one thing only. It's beat the Packers. And he kind of did it, but that's a different story. So he said, I want to make a couple things clear. I want to restore relevancy to the franchise. The franchise is not about to rebuild. Oh, that's it. Wow. I thought there were three. He just said those two things. He's already done those. Like those are the two things that he's completed those in 11 months. Like that's exactly that's what we wanted. Right. We're relevant. We're talking about it. I probably wouldn't be doing a Bulls podcast if we hadn't done all this stuff. Cause it'd be, is Kobe White going to score maybe 10 points a game this year? Who knows? Like that.
Right.
He did it.
Neither would I, especially given my choices of background and audio. I don't think I would be here either. So I think it is a complete overreaction. And again, like I said, obviously they haven't played a single game yet. We get that, but we're assessing the offseason moves. And right now, I just don't think you can give a big red F for that. You just can't.
I agree. And speaking of offseason moves or potential offseason moves, James Ennis or Enos, you could choose that pronunciation at home, and you can let me know if I said it wrong in the chat, but I said both. So clearly I said one of them right. So he's a small forward who's on the Magic. I believe that's what he normally plays, as small forward. But that's what we did in the last team. So that's what we're going with. The Bulls have apparently been sniffing around him in free agency, as well as we talked about in the last podcast, Paul Millsap. And the rumors are that we would use the trade exception or that it could be in play for Paul Millsap. Obviously, we are in the infancy of that stage. So hopefully if we have any more news, we'll talk about that next week. However, before we even get to next week, Nick, what do you think about these potential additions to the current Bulls roster?
Yeah, again, I mean, yeah, I think we could probably use some depth at the forward position. I'm completely on board with that. I think just as if we're keeping in mind the win now mentality, I think it would be awesome to get Paul Millsap, get him on a good, veteran deal, older guy. I think it'd be great to have on the bench. He's been around the block. I mean, as cliche as it is, you got to have that, especially when you have these younger guys on the team that, expectations are so high. There's all these outside pressures, but at the end of the day, you're just playing the game of basketball. So you need a guy like Paul Millsap to just bring him back down to earth, get the boys riled up, and hey, he can still bring a lot to the table as a player too. I think so. I'm looking forward to see what we'll do here.
Absolutely, I agree. And with that, we'll wrap it up. We'll have more next week, hopefully on Paul Millsap, maybe on James Ennis. We won't do a whole podcast on him, but hopefully he's at least a footnote. And so that'll do it for another episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Tony Sapita. Thank you again to Chicago Bulls expert Nick Barr for joining me again today. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.